Okay, so what we're doing in this video is rearranging formula. Now, to be able to rearrange formula, what we need to know are our inverse operations. Now, inverse operations reverse the effect of the original operation. Now, what that means is they go in pairs with each other. So, adding and taking away undo each other. They're the opposite of each other. They're the inverse of each other. If you add something, taking it away is undoing it. And similarly, times and divide also go together. They're the inverses of each other. And we're also going to be using in this squaring, so the little 2, and square rooting. Now, when we're rearranging formula, what they want us to do is to make something else the subject of the formula. So here I want K to be my subject of the formula. What that means is I just want K by itself. Currently, K is being multiplied. So to get rid of that multiplied by 4, I need to do the inverse, and that is dividing by 4. So here, y divided by 4, I can just write as a fraction, y divided by 4, and that equals, here I've undone this multiplying by 4, so I'm just left with k. So k is by itself, and I've got y divided by 4. So k is the subject of the formula now. Similarly here, if I want to make f the subject of the formula, here f is having 2 added to it, so I just have to take 2 away. So I'm left with on this side is c take away 2 equals f. F is the subject of the formula because it is by itself. Now, let's look at some more complicated examples. Here, v equals u divided by 7. So what I want to do is make u the subject of the formula. So here it's being divided by 7, so I've got to multiply by 7. V multiplied by 7, I write that as 7v equals u. Remember, whenever we're multiplying a number by a variable, the number always goes first. We don't write the times sign. Here, we've got 2 steps to make. Now, I want p by itself first of all, so I'm going to get rid of this minus 6 first. I'm going to add 6, so t plus 6 equals 2p. Now, p is being multiplied by 2, so I have to divide by 2 on both sides. So t plus 6, all divided by 2, equals p. Now, some even more difficult questions now. Again, these will take multiple steps. Here I want t to be the subject of the formula. This time there's no numbers, but it's exactly the same principles. First of all, I want t just by itself over here, so I need to get rid of this u. So I take away u. V take away u is just v take away u equals at. Now to get rid of this, I need to divide by a. So I'm left with v minus u all over a equals t. Now here 2p minus 1, that's all being divided by 5. So to undo that, I have to times by 5. So 5t equals 2p minus 1. And from here, you should know now, just have to add the 1. So 5t plus 1 equals 2p. Then divide by the 2. So that would be 5t plus 1, all divided by 2, equals p. Now these ones here are a little bit more complicated because we've got powers and roots. So this is x multiplied by itself and then multiplied by 2. Okay, multiplying it by 2 is actually the last thing, even though it's the first thing being written. So I need to divide by that 2 first. So that's a over 2 equals x squared. And as we said before, the inverse of squaring is square rooting. So the square root of a over 2 equals x. Similarly here, y plus r is all being square rooted. The opposite, the inverse of square rooting is squaring. So b squared equals y plus r So then I want y to be my subject, so b squared minus r equals y. Now, this one is a lot more complicated. There's going to be a lot of steps, but each individual step you can do. So you're just going to break it down one step at a time and everything will be fine. So this is t equals 2 pi multiplied by the square root of a squared minus 4. Now, the first thing we're going to have to do is get rid of this 2 pi. We can't square it because it's not all being square rooted. But 2 pi is being multiplied by this square root, so we can divide by 2 pi. So what we'd get is t over 2 pi equals the square root of a squared minus 4. Now, because this is all being square rooted, I can square it. So again, we put it all in brackets. T over 2 pi squared equals a squared minus 4. Now from here, I'm hoping that you should be able to see that we have to add 4 because we want to get rid of this. So t over 2 pi squared, add 4 equals a squared. And then just to finish it off, to get a by itself as the subject of the formula, we just have to square root all of this. So t over 2 pi squared plus 4 equals a. Now this is the very last one I'm going to show you, and this one is different because what we have is we have x here, which we want to make the subject of the formula. We have this in two different positions. How are we going to get x by itself? First thing we want is we want everything with x in it on one side, everything without x on it on the other side. So we have to get rid of this 2a. So I'm going to take away 2a from both sides. So p minus 2a equals qx plus 2x. Now, what I can do here to separate this out is I can factorize. So if I factorize this, which isn't changing anything, it's just rearranging it, I can take the x out because they both have x in common. So that is x times by q makes qx, and x times by 2 makes 2x. So this here is exactly the same as this, just written slightly differently. This is x multiplied by q plus 2. Now I can get rid of all of this. Because this is x multiplied by q plus 2, the inverse would be divide by q plus 2, which I can do to both sides. So p minus 2a divided by q plus 2 equals x. Now, what I'd like you to do is have a go for yourself with these questions. So here are the subjects that I'd like you to make of the formula. This last one here is one where you're going to have to factorize. If you need help, please go back through the video and rewatch it.